Okay. So today we are going to talk about reflexive verbs. Can somebody give me an example of a reflexive verb on the vocab list? Okay, we got a whole bunch. Good job. Peinarse, cepillarse. One more. Despertarse. What do all of those reflexive verbs have in common? Okay, they end in say, which is a reflexive pronoun. Up here, I covered this briefly yesterday, that reflexive verbs are describing actions done to or for oneself. So anything that you do to yourself, brush your teeth, that's reflexive. Brush someone else's teeth, not reflexive, doesn't need a reflexive pronoun. All reflexive verbs are going to be using a pronoun. So you might want to put that in your notes if you don't already. Pronouns are required if it is a reflexive verb. Okay?
An example, should it be to brush one's teeth?
Yes. Well, those are just things that you can do to yourself. But yes, to make it reflexive, it would be to brush one's teeth. Good point. Okay, so in the infinitive form, where do you see the infinitive form all the time? Give me an example of where you look at the infinitive form. Do you guys look at your vocab list very often?
Right here.
I hope you're looking at it often, and you should be looking at infinitives. So words that end in AR, ER, or IR, the most basic form. When they're in the infinitive and they're reflexive, the reflexive pronoun attaches, like in bañarse. However, whenever you conjugate, the pronoun appears before the conjugated verb. So, to quickly jot something down with this, you might want to write infinite. Oh, that's not the highlighter.
Oh.
Been doing that several times today.
Yeah, use your style.
You think I'm more accurate with that?
Yes.
With the infinitive, you're going to attach. With the conjugated verb, it's going before. So that is your placement for your pronouns. Infinitives attach, conjugated verbs come before. Okay? Preguntas, questions? All right, so let's take a look at our pronouns. Go ahead and make yourself a 2-column, 3-row chart with singular and plural. And let's talk about these pronouns. So, up here we have our infinitive where it's attached to bañarse, to take a bath. Then down here we have all of our pronouns. Do those pronouns look familiar? Have you ever used me, te, nos, and os before? Yes. You've used those with indirect.
Gusta.
Okay, with verbs like gustar, yes. Saying me gusta, te gusta, nos gusta. You've also used them whenever you were talking about direct and indirect objects, okay? When a person is an object, you can do that. So if you want to say, I bathe, you have your pronoun me right there. And look what they've done to bañar. They conjugated. So we're going to match up. Our O ending for yo form is going to match up with the may, which is first person singular, pronoun for the reflexives. So we have to do two things with reflexive verbs. We have to change the pronoun and we have to conjugate the verb. There's your example. Jorgito se baña a las 8. Se is your reflexive pronoun. Baña because it's Jorgito. What if you have two verbs and you have a conjugated verb first and then you have a reflexive pronoun? Well, guess what? You have some choices. You can attach your pronoun. Whoa, sorry. You can attach your pronoun to the infinitive, despertarte. The only reason why you can do this is because it ends in AR. This verb up here is conjugated, quieres. This verb is in the to form, the to wake up, the most basic form. Okay? So you can attach to an infinitive. Or, the same exact sentence, you can put it before the conjugated verb. Me quiero despertarte. The only reason why this is possible is because this is the conjugated verb, this is not. Down here, same sentence, but you can put it in the front. Where should you plan to put your pronoun so that you're right all the time? Here you have options because of the conjugated verb. Do you have an option if you don't have the infinitive in front of it? Like over here on this previous slide. Do you have an option in this sentence? Didn't mean to do that. Do you have an option right here? No, you have to put it in the front. So might it be a good idea to always put them in the front?
Yes.
I think so. All right, so that covers placement. I talked about this earlier. Just because it's a reflexive verb on your vocab list, like cepillarse, does that mean that cepillarse is always reflexive? No. Look at this one. Yo despierto. I wake. Who do I wake? Not myself. If it was myself, there'd be a may there. But it's I wake up Celia at 7. So here we have despertar. It wasn't despertarse because it's not reflexive. Okay? And if it was reflexive, there's what it would look like. Me despierto a las 7. I wake myself up. Any questions? Okay, we're headed on to the next grammar. Draw a big line. We're covering the present progressive now. In English, what does it mean if something is progressing? Okay, it's getting better. It's okay, it's movement, right? We've got action. Okay? So the present progressive in Spanish and in English has to do with moving. And we're going to be talking in grammatical terms. Hopefully you understand them in English. If you don't, you might understand them in English a little bit better after my Spanish class. We're going to be needing two things. We are going to be needing estar, conjugated, and a present participle. So two things. This is a two-piece deal here. Does anybody know what a present participle in English would be? Nope. No ideas. Okay, well, we're going to learn them today. There you go.
I'll switch places with her.
That's not going to help her. That's actually probably further away from the board, or just as far.
You can take Brando's spot. Brando can sit here, and then I'll sit there.
We're all good. It's okay. She normally is fine. Do you just not have your glasses on today, Jasmine?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, I told you there's two pieces that have to come into play with the present progressive. The present progressive, we need to go ahead and draw yourself a box. You need 2 columns, 3 rows, as always. Do you guys already know how to conjugate a star?
Oh.
Really? There it is. Has anything changed?
No.
No. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, están. So this is the part that's going to say estoy. I am. We're going to have to follow up with a present participle. In English, what might you say to talk about something that's progressing? I am, what am I doing right now? I am what? Talking. Hablando. I am talking. That is a present progressive sentence. I am talking. So now we got to figure out how to take a verb from to talk to make it talking.
Oh, so it's like to swim, to swimming.
Yes, swim, I swim versus I am swimming. In English, we use ing as our suffix. In Spanish, we need to figure out how to form these present participles. And here's your instructions. AR verbs. Use ando. ERIRs use
Yeah, no.
endo. So you will hear me oftentimes try and refresh your memory by saying, think about ondos and endos. Ondos, endos. And then you guys will have to know that you use those with a star. So let's look at some ondos and endos. Here we have 3 verbs, an AR, an ER, and an IR. Notice comprar. If I want to say that you are buying me a gift for Christmas, you would say, we need our form of estar, which would be out to the front. That would be you are, estás. And then I would follow up with comprando. You are buying. Down here they did an example sentence with comer. What estás comiendo? Are you? And then we have our progressive, which is the participle, yendo. So this is easy enough, right? The main thing is you don't forget about estar. You have to have the you are part. This part over here takes care of what that person's doing. Walking, talking, eating, writing, buying. Okay? So ondos, endos plus estar, conjugated. There's another example. Estoy comprando. I am buying. And the last thing that we need to talk about, of course, do they always follow the rules?
Oh.
No. Look at leer. If you had leer and leer was normal, you would chop off the ER and add endo. This is 3 vowels in a row. That does not work very well. And I has a very good friend that likes to camouflage itself as a consonant when it's needed or a vowel when it's needed. And so the I is going to change to a Y, leyendo. And there are several other verbs that will do that whenever this happens. What about some stem changing verbs like decir? It's going to go to diciendo. And dormir is not going to have a full stem change. It's just durmiendo. They're E to I or O to U. Okay. Now let's talk about pronouns with these guys. Last thing, we're almost done for today. I know it's been long. Pronouns can either go before a conjugated verb, the star, or attached to the end. So that leaves you with may here or may here. You can do either one. They are both correct. Which one is a little bit more difficult, though? The attached one is correct. Why is this attached one considered more challenging here? What happened with this? If you attach a pronoun onto a word, you have to go back and do the accent rule. We haven't... In English, we have different ways of saying the same thing, too. It happens. On the accents, they're always going to be on the ah of ando or the e of iendo for right now. I won't make you go into the accent rule yet. We'll get there yet this year, though. Okay? Any questions about this so far? We've had a lot. Okay. So, let's summarize here for just a second. In this PowerPoint, we first talked about what? What was the very first concept in your notes? Reflexive verbs. And we talked about the pronouns. Repítame. Me. Te. Se. Nos. Os. Se. Okay, so reflexive verbs have to have a reflexive pronoun, and you conjugate the verb as usual. What was the second grammar concept that we talked about today? Present progressive, which uses a star and a present participle. In English, give me a sentence in the present progressive.
I like to start.
I am what? Buying. You are listening. I am talking. We are studying. The ing, right? You've got your form of I am, you are, he, she is, your estar plus your ando, iendo. Okay, let's get some practice.